It was supposed to be Admiration Day. I was supposed to be able just to enjoy gazing upon and admiring the work I had completed. But it was taken from me. There was no Admiration Day for me. Instead, it was another day of work. For those of you who do not know, Admiration Day is often the last day of work for the week. And it's a day just to sit back and look at all the work you accomplished over the previous days and admire it. Just to have a day of admiration for the hard work you've already put in. My goal on Friday was to have an Admiration Day. I had just found out about Admiration Day. I had never actually taken a day of work and turned it into a day of admiration, instead just to appreciate all the work I accomplished. So I was really looking forward to it. This project has been years in the making. I'm finally got some things lined up because for this part of the project, I needed finances, my availability, the opportunity of friends and machinery to be available, and weather to line up. And it's finally coming into place. So I wanted just to sit back and admire. But I've got 12 yards of concrete coming on Wednesday to be poured on here. How much does 12 yards of concrete weigh? And 12 yards of concrete is literal tons. Like tens of thousands of pounds, I think, are going to be dumped here. Which means if something fails, I have an absolutely major failure. If something goes wrong, I'm gonna fill what I've been intending to have as my storm shelter, my root cellar, underground pantry, with concrete, and it's gonna be ruined. So there was a couple places. A couple things were too high, a couple things needed some leveling, I need some reinforcement. I had to take that Admiration Day and just work like crazy on stuff, and I'm still not there. Which means over the next couple hours today, I've got to knock out a lot of stuff. And then work tomorrow, and then be home early for the load of concrete to show up. And I had better have this done right, or my life is seriously messed up. And I'm going to be very, very unimpressed. I'll show you what I did so far, explain to you what my goals are for today, and then we're going to see how I do on that. And no Admiration Day for me. I was able to pick up this 24-foot aluminum I-beam from a friend, and that's what I'm going to use to screed this thing to level it when the concrete starts coming in. I also wanted to add just some extra reinforcement for the footers. And my vents, one here, one on the other side there, were just a little bit too high for my liking, so I had to drop those down and then also make sure all my spikes were below. They were pretty good, but I did adjust some of them to get them down. I actually should pull up this duct tape on the border here and actually just caulk along the edge. I think that's going to help me, so I'm going to do that. And then over here, I did an amount of work too. I had already scribed, some boards to match up with things, but rather than buying brackets, I made some out of angle iron to hold this to this, so this is not going to move. I got one here, one there, one there. Drove a spike and then angle iron in there, and then I also took some mortar and I put that along the edge so nothing would sneak underneath. That also is going to help hold this in place. From the outside then, as we're filling this, there's not going to be any weak spot for it to go underneath. And I want this to be so held in place. Since I have to be able to disassemble, okay, this berm on the outside looks really nice now, but I pounded my spikes, like you see the corner spike, I pounded my spikes down below grade, so they're down here. These are borrowed from a friend. So after I pour the concrete, all this is going to have to be pulled back. I'm going to have to unscrew that, lift these boards out, and all that had to be done from the outside. Well, this one had to be done from the inside, which doesn't give me a lot of bite. If I was able just to screw a bunch of screws through the ends and hold it all together, it'd be very rigid, very strong and secure, but to do everything from the inside and top makes it a far weaker structure. So I'm going to have to reinforce it with some runners across, probably with some 2x4s. I'm going to do some of that today. I'm probably also going to cut just a cover for it, just to keep it flush. I'll run some 2x4 runners across there so I can step across here if I need to, but I want this enclosed. I picked up that foam there, and I'm going to use, as you can see, a circle's already cut out of it. I'm going to use that to plug all of my pipes there. So the main things I got to do today: reinforce this, plug all my pipes, and caulk around the edge of there. And I think at that point I should be good. But if you think about just, a bag of concrete is often 60 or 80 pounds, and it's just a little bag. To get a yard of concrete, 27 cubic feet, should be over 2 tons. That should be over 4,000 pounds. So this whole thing getting poured here, if my math is right, should be like 48,000 pounds. That's why I have an underground forest in there. That's going to be a pain to get out, but I have to be able to do this right. That has to be able to support. There's a ton of trees just standing up on their ends, because if that gives way, I'm not going to be able to get anything done. I'm not going to be able to fix it. I'm not going to be able to help it. It's going to be done. And this project will be destroyed. It'll be a waste. I mean, look at just the investment in rebar I have here. Much less time and effort in the ICFs and the concrete I've already used and building all these stairs all the way down. So it is do or die time, and I don't want to die, which means I got to do it. And if I'm going to do it, I'm going to do it well. I want to have it. If I'm going to kill it, it needs to be overkill. So that's where I'm at today. No admiration day. Friday, no admiration day today. I got to get this done. So here we go. Just that.
did she got to the dust?
I might have hit right behind it where it lets loose in the mortar. The mortar is not as tough as the actual concrete. This tape measure is bad.
And so whenever I get in there,
So I got one in my pocket, one still sitting there, and I fixed up what I was trying to fix up. Okay. I wonder what I should do then, because I want to drop in like a cover.
inside.
Yeah. Look at that. Then that sheet would almost fit in there really good. Oh wait, that's nice. Yeah. That's nice. Before they wind up everywhere. Alright, he didn't make it. See that? Now I have a lid. Tell me what the deal is. I'll just check it. Yeah, don't let it go on a wire or an airline. Hi. Set your end down quick, run over here and pull this cord up. Yep, just like that. Hey Doc, that's for planting grass and stuff. No, because this was a low point. Yeah, so I'm gonna have to get at least a 2x4 and splice it in. On the inside, you know what I mean? Maybe I can force it beneath. Come this way. See if you can pull this tight and then force it down. Why is that not? I guess. Okay, now hold it still and I gotta get a pencil. So I want to make sure. Just cut this to fill in that gap. So it'll come from somewhere over there, right across here, and then right up to like there. And that's going to make that a lot more level. Mine's about here. Put it on the line. Are you holding it? Yeah? Are you going to hold it or no?
Yep.
Yeah. That's a lot better. So, at the moment, this is low and plugged. Those are flush and plugged. I put in braces going this way, 2 levels, and 2 levels going this way. Put that plywood at the top just to keep it closed in. It's not level, it doesn't need to be as far as the plywood inside there. Caulked around the entire thing and then kind of retaped it down. We put in a splice over there. Can you point to it, son? So there was a low spot, I don't know if you remember where those two joined together. So we actually scribed and cut a board across the top of there. And I think other than cleanup, that should be locked in place. I did add a couple more braces as well that I tap conned into the cement. I'm thinking I'm happy with this and ready for a pour. I didn't get any admiration day, just staring around gazing at it, but let me know if anything else comes to mind. Oh, and Monster Truck was leveling this out a little bit. I'm gonna have you do just a little bit more there, you know where, right? All right, but I think we're good to go. Let me know if anything looks out of place or anything that you think we need to, any questions you got. When I started this video, I had some sunglasses on. Then they fell down there, and then I put a lid on it. I'll have to find those whenever I open this back up. I think I'm where I need to be. I'm double checking with one of my friends. I may double check with some other ones. It's a work in progress, but we're making progress, and it's a lot of work. Therefore, less admiration. Eventually, we'll sit around admiring it together. I'll invite you guys along, but for now, I think I'm where I need to be. I got some sunlight left before I got to work tomorrow, and then the next day we're pouring in the morning, so we'll find out. Stay tuned. Papa out.